A lot of people saying this could be a very difficult matchup for the Zags. I talk about that and also catch up with Jalen Suggs' family.
It's a chilly start to the day, but temperatures are on the rise. I'll let you know how warm we get today and our warm few days ahead.
It's day 2 of the case the entire country is watching. This morning we'll tell you why a certain Minnesota document is making the trial against Derek Chauvin stand out from others.
Up with KREM starts right now with Joshua Robinson, Jeremy Legoo, and Dana Marie McNichol.
This morning we are tracking breaking news as the Spokane Sheriff's Office is investigating a deadly shooting. The incident happened at an apartment complex in Spokane Valley, and we find our Nicole Hernandez live from the scene this morning. Nicole, good morning. What information do you have for us today?
Yeah, Joshua, good morning. So we cannot see much from where we're standing right now. Police have asked us to stay on the outside of the apartment complex here, but I do want to give you a look at what we can see behind me. You can see that police tape right near the carports, kind of hung up between some apartments and one of the carports. That is where police are investigating after a shooting ended up killing a minor here at this apartment complex. So that happened yesterday night just before 11 p.m. People here living here heard gunshots. They said they called 911. A few of the people who heard those gunshots actually followed the sound of them, and that's where they found a minor who had been shot. Now, they did try to help him until help showed up. That man, though, was pronounced dead here at the apartment complex. Now, police do have a few people of interest that they are looking to speak to. It looks like the victim did actually know the people that were involved in this shooting. So police say at this point this is under investigation. They are still looking for the people they'd like to interview, but they do not have any suspects under arrest at this point. Live in Spokane Valley, I'm Nicole Hernandez.
And of course, we will keep you updated at home, not only here on Up with KREM, but also on KREM.com and our KREM 2 mobile app, should any developments come up. Of course, we do want to look outside, checking in with Jeremy Legoo this morning for our, what day is it, Jeremy? I don't even know. Tuesday?
Oh, it is.
Tuesday.
Give me a sec. Tuesday, March 30th, 2021. And here we sit, the second to last day of March, the second to last day of the first month of meteorological spring. And it's chilly, 26 degrees right now, and I would not be shocked if temps drop just a, there we go, a bit more. 25 now. There we go. This likely could be our coldest day in the remainder of spring, or coldest morning, we'll say. Not coldest afternoon temperature, no way, but coldest morning. And the reason is it's all those clear skies overhead and radiative cooling really taking place. 25 degrees currently here in Spokane, 26 over in Coeur d'Alene, 27 as you make your way up to Sandpoint. Even as you move into central Washington, temperatures now falling into the 20s and down near freezing in Wenatchee. I'm telling you, this is a chilly start to the day. There's no doubt about it. Yesterday, we didn't get all that warm. Skies cleared out overnight. Wind calmed down, and that's the perfect recipe for radiative cooling. So you get a big drop in temperatures. But to start, our temperatures weren't that warm yesterday. So what we wind up seeing is a very cold morning. Throughout the day today, sunshine dominates. We're under a ridge of high pressure. That means temperatures climb, and that makes it more difficult for us to get this cold tomorrow morning. So it's likely we don't cool down this much. But with all of that sunshine today, our temperatures are set to climb back up into the 50s. It's going to be a cold 50s because it'll take long to get there, but that sets the stage for even warmer weather to come.
We'll see you back in just a few minutes, Jeremy, for that full forecast here now at 6:02 as we take a live look at downtown Indianapolis this morning. All of our eyes have been on that city for the past few weeks. Of course, Gonzaga fans patiently waiting for the team's matchup against USC in the Elite Eight today. We'll have live coverage from Indy all day long, including from our very own sports director, Brenna Green, joining us live this morning from Indianapolis in preparation with a preview of that matchup. Good morning, Brenna.
Good morning. Yes, a lot of people are saying that this could be Gonzaga's toughest matchup of the entire tournament due to USC's length. One of the players on USC who is long is Evan Mobley. Mobley is going to be squaring off against Drew Timme, and a lot of analysts are very excited to see that matchup. Of course, Mobley, a top 5 NBA lottery pick. Timme, not quite there yet, but he's been one of the big stars of this tourney. I asked both Mark Few and Corey Kispert yesterday if they thought Drew was excited to face off against another big-time big.
He's faced size before, obviously. Probably not size with as much as talent as the Mobleys have, but I'm sure Drew's looking forward to it.
Drew wants to go toe-to-toe with the best of the best, and that's the sign of a competitor. All of the, facial hair and giggling and laughing and celebrations aside, like, Drew's a dog.
This is not Timme's first high-profile matchup of the tournament. That came against Oklahoma's Brady Manek, in which Timme had a career high in points and rebounds and held Manek to 3 points. That's it. Translation, I think Timme takes these matchups a bit personally. Another huge talking point for this game is Gonzaga's offense versus USC's defense. The Zags have the top 2 field goal percentage, 2-point field goal percentage in the nation. The Trojans have the second best defensive 2-point field goal percentage in the country. Something's gotta give. The Trojans have been playing a lot of zone in this tournament, which USC head coach Andy Enfield said he is impressed with because his team didn't play much zone in the regular season. He said his squad has improved leaps and bounds over the last week on that zone, and that they're so good at it at this point that they tweaked how they played their zone against Oregon on Sunday, and that obviously went just fine. Enfield said that his team can switch between man-to-man and zone mid-possession as well. Mark Few had high praise for USC's defense yesterday.
I think they've discovered that it's basically what I would call kind of the Syracuse zone, pressed up, and I've had some really, really good success with it. The numbers in the NCAA tournament are really, really impressive. They're doing a great job in it, and they seem to be playing it a lot for long stretches of the game.
Mark Few mentioned Syracuse at the beginning of that soundbite. Well, the Orange were the last team the Zags played in the NCAA tournament who play zone religiously. That game was in 2016, and it did not end well for the Zags. And finally, Andy Enfield really riled up some Gonzaga fans yesterday when he discussed watching the Zags on film, or lack thereof. We're going to show that clip in its entirety here.
Is there any team you've played this year that plays a similar style to Gonzaga?
Well, some of the teams in our league push the ball. Oregon really spreads you out, pushes the pace. And I'm not sure. I really haven't seen enough video on Gonzaga to answer that question thoroughly.
Basically, Andy is saying that he hasn't watched the Zags enough to answer that question. Either seems like a lie, and he doesn't want to say that Gonzaga is that good, or his staff really dropped the ball because they've known for almost a week that if they advance to the Elite Eight, they'd most likely face Gonzaga. This even got Dominic Harris's dad riled up on Twitter. Of course, Dominic, a freshman on the team. Dominic's dad said in a tweet, "It's that arrogance that I hope we beat the stuff right out of him. It's nothing wrong with showing deference to other players, coaches, and programs. Nobody asking him to kiss the ring, but to act like he hasn't seen synergy on the Zags is blasphemy." If you don't know what synergy is, by the way, it's a video breakdown service every college basketball team uses. So we have a little bit of heat going into this matchup, to say the least. Gonzaga versus USC tips at 4:15 p.m. Pacific time on TBS. Mark Hanrahan will be live outside of Lucas Oil tonight in our 4 o'clock show. Reporting in Indianapolis, I'm Brenna Green, KREM 2 Sports.
Hey, Brent, I got a real quick question for you while we still have you. You know, a lot of talk of the Gonzaga offense going up against that USC defense. Do you think the Gonzaga defense needs to step up in any way today? Something we haven't seen a ton of in this tournament.
You know, Gonzaga's defense is very underrated. A lot of teams, other teams that they have played this year, have spoken about that actually, and USC's offense is on fire, so I definitely think that the Zags defense is going to have to show up today, but I wouldn't be super worried about it if I'm a Gonzaga fan, because this defense has gotten really, really good this year. They've been really solid on that end of the floor.
They've been making really good teams look not very good. Thank you very much, Brenda. We'll check in with you throughout the day heading up to that game. Of course, here at 6:08 now, we want to change gears to another big story across the nation. The trial of Derek Chauvin continues today, as Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer accused of killing George Floyd. Derek Chauvin has pleaded not guilty to charges stemming from Floyd's death on May 25th. And you might remember the video that showed Floyd on the ground in handcuffs with Chauvin's knee on his neck for roughly 9 minutes. Now, Chauvin faces 3 charges in this trial. The first charge is second-degree unintentional felony murder. For Chauvin to be found guilty, the state would have to prove that Chauvin committed a felony. In this case, it would be assault, and that the assault led to Floyd's death. The next charge Chauvin is facing is called third-degree depraved mind murder. This charge is more about reckless behavior, so the jury will have to decide if he caused a death with an act eminently dangerous to others without regard for human life. The last charge Chauvin is facing is second-degree involuntary manslaughter. The jury will be reviewing evidence to decide if he is guilty of killing George Floyd unintentionally. Now, the maximum sentence for the second-degree murder is 40 years in prison. For third-degree murder, it's 25 years, and for manslaughter, it is 10 years. But Minnesota uses sentencing guidelines, and for someone with no prior convictions like Chauvin, second-degree and third-degree murder would likely carry the same sentence of 12.5 years in prison. For manslaughter, it would be 4 years. And keep in mind, if he is convicted on more than one charge, Chauvin would only serve a sentence for the most severe. And during the Chauvin trial, you might hear the expression spark of life. Coming up in our next half hour on Up with KREM, we'll explain what that is and how prosecutors plan to use it in this case.
And coming up after the break, we're going to talk about how clear skies overhead are making for a cold start to the day. But don't worry, temperatures are on the rise. We're back up near 50 later on and even warmer in the days to come.